Hello, it's Karen.
And Ruth, hello.
Hello. Without much preamble today, we're going to get right into this video because Alexandra Rodriguez put up this video, The Truth About My Father. I was a little gobsmacked.
I was.
And we instantly raced to watch it. It's not a monetised video, it is age restricted. Hence, I couldn't actually download it to cover the video, and nor did I particularly want her to cover the video because we can just talk about it. So I would urge anybody actually to go and watch this video. It's less than 5 minutes long. It's not monetized, so she's not gaining from it. Perhaps just go and watch the whole video and formulate your thoughts about it. But these are just some of our thoughts. So we'll just quickly look at what she said. So she found out her father had been arrested and sentenced to 8 years in prison. He began reaching out to her, he manipulated her, telling her that he was on medication, that he wasn't his right mind, that he truly didn't understand what he was doing. He felt remorse, and as a teenage girl who had always longed for a relationship with her dad, she desperately wanted to believe him. She was desperate for connection with the man who had abandoned her, and that longing just clouded her judgments. She began communicating with him regularly. He said he wanted to be in her life, and she held on to that hope even when she knew she shouldn't have. When he was released from prison, she made a choice that she will always regret. She allowed him to attend her wedding. She also wrote a letter to the judge reflecting her own limited and manipulated experience. And she wants to make it clear in this video she was not fully aware of the details of his crime. Clearly she was vulnerable, and that's not an excuse. She was wrong. Even though she had long since cut ties, once she gained that clarity and stepped back from the manipulation, she understood that the pain this has resurfaced is valid. She'd taken accountability for the choices that she made in that period of her life, and even though she made them under emotional pressure and just this deep desire for love and connection, but let her be crystal clear, she does not condone, excuse or support his actions. What he did was wrong, period. And if she could go back, she would have never written that letter. She would have never let him into such a sacred and personal moment in her life. But she can't go back. What she can do is acknowledge her mistake, learn and take accountability for it. She's done so much work to process, not just from what he did, but from his lifelong absence, and to establish boundaries that she should have had from the start. To anyone who's been hurt, triggered or disappointed by seeing these things, you have every right to feel that way. And she's so sorry. Her choices in the past gave space to someone who should never have had it. Being in the public eye means that in the most painful private parts of your life, they can come to light. Just to clarify, what she said his crime was in having relations with a minor. A 15-year-old minor. That's what she said. He had sex with a 15-year-old. Now, I'm sure there are going to be many, many thoughts about this video, about what she's come out and said. Ruth and I have discussed it at some length, and we have really settled on two theories. These are just theories. They are speculation. They are not based on facts, but just our own thoughts. Now, you might find one of them a little contentious, a little hard to take, but in the essence of objectivity, so that we cannot be accused of being haters or naysayers, we're going to give both sides of the argument, and you can decide which side you want to fall down on. We know which side we fall down on. But anyway, the first theory. Alexandra said she was abandoned by her father at the age of 2, and she was left to be brought up by her mother. She said she didn't have any contact with her dad, but for maybe once a year when she would see him. It's not clear whether he visited or she visited him. However, this theory suggests that we've got to look closer at her mother, Nancy. Now, we all theorise that Nancy is indeed a narcissist herself, and we know the dealings of narcissists, we know the manipulation, we know the gaslighting, we know the lies they tell, and she was brought up in this environment. Now, when the father first got in touch from prison and stated his crime, or his version of his crime, because it was only a version of the crime, why did her mother not step in and say, no, this man is clearly a PDF file. Don't have any contacts with him. His crimes are heinous. This is bad news. He's a predator. Do not get involved. That apparently didn't happen. She was allowed to communicate with him. He was then allowed to manipulate, gaslight, coerce her, because let's face it, he's an expert at that. The mother allowed this. The mother was also seen posing in a photograph with Alexandra and with the father, where they were kind of all smiles. Why did she not stop that happening? Why did she not stop physical meetings? Why would you put your young daughter in the presence of such an individual? So theory 2 is, this is a PR exercise in damage control. If you think of a politician who's dropped a clanger that might then get a team involved to rectify the situation and spin it into a more palatable narrative, that would appear to be possibly what's going on here. She dropped a clanger years ago, it's been uncovered, and she needs to rectify that situation. This, of course, on the back of all the copyright strikes, all the furore that created when you think about Alan Roberts saying, if you take me to court, I'm going for your PDF father, and that will all be outed. He was not the only reactor to say that. Some of the bigger channels have also said that. So are we now seeing this to try and divert people away from that thought process? I'm going to hand you over to Ruth now for her thoughts.
Thank you, Karen, for that beautiful synopsis of the hypotheticals. I'm theory number 2. I definitely think it's a PR damage control thing, because it was also set up. It didn't come across as genuine at all. And the facts are a bit wishy-washy as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
The timeline, and we cut off all ties with him some time ago, but weren't you just in Florida? And it's all very odd to me.
Yeah, she said she'd cut all ties with him. However, after the wedding, which was in 2021, she's had 4 years to address this situation. And this is the first video, as far as I'm aware, where she's publicly come out and addressed it.
Yeah.
She's had all that time to put things right, if you like. Is she trying to spin the narrative? This is the effects of her recent therapy arc. This is what they've been discussing, and now she feels able to talk about it.
Next.
No, it's not. I agree. It's the timing of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People have come out and said, we're going to expose him further.
Yeah.
And this is her knee-jerk reaction to it.
Now to do with me, governor.
Yeah. Also, look at how she's dressed.
Yeah.
We are used to seeing her in her skimpy clothing with everything hanging out.
Yeah.
Now suddenly she's fully covered in this cosy fleece, looking vulnerable.
Yeah. I wasn't very impressed with the way she referred to her father's crime as opposed to what it really was. And she made a funny gesture, sort of held her eyebrow, turned her head away. To me, it came across as sort of whoopsie. I'm sure she's done that gesture in the kitchen when something's come out a bit odd. That was the micro-expressions thing. Yeah, she minimised what her father had done and what he was charged with. She doesn't acknowledge that he's a PDF file. In fact, she's still trying to portray it was just a bit of a slip.
Yeah, that's very much how it came across.
Golly gosh. And so that gesture I was talking about is like a bit of a slip, whoopsie.
I think also she said it as though it had been one incident.
Yeah.
She didn't say he repeatedly had relations, or we know the true word, you know what we're saying. It was a case of mistreatment of this person.
Yeah.
She never actually acknowledged that it was an ongoing thing, that there were several crimes. I believe there were 9 counts in the end.
Yes.
Something along those lines. But she didn't acknowledge that, did she? It was as if it was just a one-off.
A whoops.
Yeah, a whoopsie moment,
Yeah.
a lack of judgment. It was his medication. He didn't know what he was doing. It was kind of a little slip. We know it wasn't a little slip. We know it was systematic mistreatment of this individual, and she's not acknowledging that at all.
At the same time as trying to distance herself and hold her hands up and say, but it's nothing to do with me.
Absolutely. Did you notice also, Ruth, there was no mention of her mother in this video?
I did notice once you pointed it out.
It was very telling, that.
Yeah.
So she is distancing her mother away from this whole narrative as well,
Yeah.
when in fact the mother was very much involved in all of this, because she was very much in Alexandra's life.
So do you think this has opened a whole new can of worms, Karen? Everybody will go back into everything. She thinks this is a damage control. This is just lighten the blue touch paper, I think.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think it's been a terrible move on her part. It's an unbelievable video. It's an unbelievable narrative. She is trying to devolve herself of any responsibility when she's had years in which to do that.
Yeah.
And if, after the wedding, when she says she realised that she shouldn't have invited him, he shouldn't have been involved, and she shouldn't be in contact with him, why didn't she come out then and say that?
Yeah.
Even if people didn't know the law about her father, she could have come out and said, I've been having some personal issues. This is what I've dealt with. This is the consequence of my actions now. And she could then have said, he's a terrible person. He committed all these crimes. I want nothing to do with him. That's nothing to do with me, my future. Any offspring that I have will not be subjected to any of that manipulation, coercion, whatever. But she didn't.
No. No, she did not.
And so we're left with this offering. And I think it is, she has only made things worse for herself. Because if people didn't know before, or pretended they didn't know before, they know now.
Yeah.
And if her own stands can still sit there and say, oh, she's so innocent,
well,
you've got to wonder.
You have got to wonder.
Whether they're of the same mindset, quite frankly.
You've got to wonder how many of them are of the same mindset.
You certainly do. So anyway, that's the video. As I say, do go and watch it yourself. These are just our thoughts on it. We definitely fall into theory 2. Let's make that perfectly clear. We don't buy the first one. That was simply given to be objective about the whole situation.
Yeah.
But we are definitely in the camp of, this is damage control. It's not authentic. It's not real. And it's unbelievable.
And please give us your theories in the comments below.
Please do, yes. We look forward to reading them. And thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us.
I will see you in the next one.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.